Welcome to Sports Tonight here on this beautiful Thursday. I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman here with
the one and only Lee Smith.
Lee. What's going on, man? We're just getting into football, man.
Football.
I tell you what, man. You know, we got so much football. We're jam-packed with football. Let's just jump right into it.
The three F's of fall. Football.
Right. I always tell people, once football season begins, man, don't even people who either play football or work around football or cover football.
Anybody.
Your life is going to be just in a blender for the next 3 or 4 months. I mean, just, I don't have to tell you.
I got you.
I'm just trying to tell the people who are watching. All right. So let's get right to it. First, start with the NFL, the Big Boys League. So NFL.com, obviously the NFL season starts a week from today with the Thursday night game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. So NFL.com here with a week out, they have a panel of many different NFL writers, and they got together and they made their preseason award predictions, right? So you could probably guess most of these, right? I mean, you don't even, as long as you watch the NFL and you are a fan of the NFL, you can probably guess who they predicted for some of these awards, right? I mean, NFL Most Valuable Player. Who do you think they took?
Pat.
Hey, of course, Pat Mahomes, right? That's always the easy money. So I guess it's a bit of news to people around here, or not news. Their prediction for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bijan Robinson. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a pretty safe bet. We'll obviously find out pretty soon how much they're going to use the run game. I would venture to say it's going to be at least, I'd probably say, over half of their plays are going to still be run plays. I know Arthur Smith likes to run the rock. But yeah, Bijan being the Rookie of the Year prediction I think it's a fairly safe bet.
Yeah, it seems like pretty much a slam dunk, right? I mean, just given...
I don't know if it's a slam dunk because I don't know if there's slam dunks in the NFL, but
right. Well, I guess just from a standpoint of it's the easiest, kind of like the low hanging
on
fruit.
paper,
right?
On paper,
right.
Right now, it looks like he's the favorite.
Yeah, just because I think the position that he plays, he's going to get right to it. They're pretty much going to put the ball right in his hand week one. I think they kind of gave their hand a little bit, but not really because he didn't hardly play a lot in the preseason. Yeah. Did he play at all? I don't even know if he played at all in the preseason.
He played one series.
Yeah, so I think that they're keeping a lot of those things under wraps because I think he will be a really big part of what the Falcons do on offense this year. But I think it also gives you a clue like, okay, because he is going to be such a big part, we want to sort of keep some of that under wraps. So I think that does lend itself to him having a Offensive Rookie of the Year type season.
The one other Falcons note, or really ex-Falcons note for this list is Calvin Ridley. He is picked as second for Comeback Player of the Year.
I can see
behind Damar Hamlin, the safety from the Bills who got injured, and everybody remembers how that went.
Yeah.
But yeah, Calvin Ridley picked second for Comeback Player of the Year, so let's see.
And he's going to be a sentimental favorite too, I think.
Of course.
Not so much Ridley, but
Damar
Hamlin. Yeah, I think he's going to be a sentimental favorite, just given how everything went down on that night game and how they stopped the game and just everything that kind of went behind it. But no, he's a good football player, and I think if he wins it, he will have earned it too. So just looking at some of these other awards, kind of what they have here, Defensive Rookie of the Year, they got Jalen Carter at the very top, former UGA dog. With Will Anderson right behind him, and Brian Branch. He's from the area too, right? Brian Branch,
also safety of Alabama.
Yeah, so they think he's going to be really good up there with the Lions. They have him as the third best odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So definitely a local SEC flair and a local, at the top of the Rookie of the Year predictions. I guess Jalen Carter, that's kind of interesting there. You don't know what kind of role he's going to have on that team. They got some veterans like Fletcher Cox and everything like that.
Yeah, but I feel like he's going to be a big impact.
Yeah. I mean, look at their defensive tackle room, man. I mean, so you got Fletcher Cox, who's got like Hall of Fame credentials, and then you have a couple UGA dogs behind him.
Yeah. So one other note for head coach, Arthur Smith is tied for sixth. So
that's interesting.
Falcons head coach tied for sixth.
They're kind of all over the place with Arthur Smith because I think coming into the season, he rated like third or fourth most likely to be fired, and these guys think that he's going to possibly win Coach of the Year. It's kind of all over the place, but that's what preseason predictions are. No one really knows what's going to happen, so they're just making their best guess, basically. So let's get to some more football real quick. So Georgia State starts their season tonight The Panthers open up against Rhode Island. Yes, they have a football team, if you didn't know. Rhode Island. They'll be over at
Center Park
Center
Stadium.
Park. I couldn't think of the name of it. At Center Park Stadium,
Formerly
7
Turner
p.m.
Field.
start.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to have a better season out of GSU, right? I mean, 4-8 last year. They really struggled. They got Darren Grazer coming back for his sixth season. He's a six-year senior. Hey, man. We've seen that before around here, though, right? Right. He's a Stetson Bennett of GSU. But I think that lends itself to them having a pretty good season, though.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he's got enough experience for sure. And he can prove he can win some football games. They just got to put it together, as a full team effort. Defense and special teams, offense included, everything, all in one. But I think they got a shot. They got a shot this year to be good. And obviously only time will tell. But
yeah,
there's got to be reason for optimism for that team going into this year where, what you said, 4-8 last year?
4-8.
Yeah,
not
they
good.
got to top that. They got to top that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the beginning of their schedule, it really lends itself to some games that are pretty winnable. Obviously, starting at home against Rhode Island, and then they play UConn at home as well. Then they go on the road and play Charlotte with Coastal Carolina coming up after that. So I think when you look at those opportunities, I think that's an opportunity to roll off some wins to start the season. And when you talk to Coach Elliott and those guys, I mean, you can really hear that 4-8 season last year really wore on them bad.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
I don't think they expected that. I don't think any coach gets his team ready and expects a season to be 4-8. But I think they were really disappointed last year because I remember just really kind of talking to them in the preseason. They really thought that last year was going to kind of be a really good season for them. So to go 4-8, they lost a lot of tough ball games last year too. I think that really aided them. And Coach talked about how they couldn't wait to get back at it this season and in football training camp and everything. They couldn't wait to get back. So I think they're going to be pretty explosive tonight.
Well, yeah, tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Rough thing for them though. Their division's kind of tough. They're in the American Athletic Conference, and their division specifically is App State, Georgia Southern, Marshall, Coastal Carolina, which has been ranked in the top 25 last couple of years.
True, yeah.
James Madison, who's always tough, and Old Dominion. So they got a tough
little challenge there.
Tough little spot right there to be in. But hey, we'll see.
And in the words of the great Ric Flair, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man, right?
You got to be the man.
Hey, so if they want to be the man, they'll go out there and they'll beat the man, right?
Yep.
So talk about beating.
Tell you who's the man right now.
The Braves are beating everybody.
The Braves.
They're the man, right? I mean, they're the second fastest team to 250 home runs, only behind the 2019 Minnesota Twins. I mean, it seems like everybody's hitting the ball at the park right now for the Braves. I mean, their power surge, I thought their lineup was going to be really good heading into the season for obvious reasons. I didn't know they were going to hit home runs at this pace.
Well, I don't think anybody did. I don't think they even knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they believed they could, but they didn't know they could do it. I mean, goodness. When you got a guy like Marcell Ozuna who hit he was 085. He was 085 first 18, 19 games of the season.
Wow.
And Brian Snicker kept him in the lineup, and guess what? Now he's got 30 home runs.
That's why Snicker's such a good manager, right?
I think his career's 35. It's either 35 or 36. His season best.
Yeah.
His career high, season best for home runs is 35 or 36, and he's already at 30 right now.
Right, man. I mean, this has been a power surge. I mean, just when you look up and down that lineup,
there's no holes. You can't throw around people, because guess what? The next guy is just as deadly as the other guy. So.
I mean, I'm just looking at just our home run totals. I mean, you got Olsen with 43, Riley with 31, Ozuna with 31, 29 for Acuna, 28 for Albies. I mean, just right there would be a pretty devastating lineup. And then you go below that, you got 20 for Murphy, 20 for Rosario. I mean, 16 for Arcia. I mean, that's a lot of home runs, man. I mean, I don't know what you really attribute this power surge to. I mean, like I said, I knew this was a group of good hitters, and I knew that, especially early in the season when you had the injuries with the pitching staff, that the hitters would have to sort of carry the team a little bit. But, I mean, they've exceeded my expectations.
They're just confident. They're confident. They know they can hit. Well, they don't just believe they can hit, but they know they can hit, and that's dangerous.
Now, remember early in the season when I came on here and I made that bold prediction? How many wins did I say, 110?
I don't know.
Remember that?
110 looks like it's going to be easy.
Remember that? I either said 110 or 120. I remember because we came on, we did a show, and we were talking about bold predictions.
I want to say 120.
Was it 120? Okay.
I feel like 110
Was within reach.
was doable, but that still would have been on like the higher end. 120, man.
So 120 is that within reach? Well, probably
87
not.
and 45. No,
No, it's not within
No.
reach. But I mean, this team,
but
I think
the
110
is.
Yeah, I think that's very doable. So yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's so much we can say about the Braves. Obviously, it's going to play out in October, and then we'll see where they can go and what they do from here. But right now, I think they probably got to be most people's favorite to win the World
Well,
Series.
I don't know a whole lot, but I can tell you this: they're going to have the most home runs this year by far.
Yeah, for sure. Hey,
that?
That's a lineup, man. I mean, that's I've seen some really good lineups in my lifetime. I mean, just
Well, they've got power from the left. They got power from the right. They can hit for singles, doubles. I mean, they've got a little bit of everything. I haven't seen them bunt. That's the only thing I haven't seen them do is bunt.
In today's Major League Baseball, who do you see bunt? I mean,
not many people.
That might be a lost art. And then you got Acuna with all those stolen bases. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
True.
So he's
a unicorn.
This is a well-rounded team, and he's a well-rounded player, and they're probably going to go really far.
He is insane.
SEC football tonight, man. So back to some we got
Florida.
Billy Napier in Florida visiting Utah. That was a really good game last season. Remember, Utah came down to the Swamp and got upset. Look, it's just I think this is just the start of what's going to be a very interesting season with SEC football. Just when you think about all the different components and maybe some of the coaches who might be under some fire. I don't know if Billy Napier's under fire, but
well, he's got a little. His seat might be a little hot.
Yeah,
it's not flaming hot yet, but he better show some kind of improvement.
They lost their quarterback obviously with Anthony Richardson, who was a top pick in the draft and everything. Well, top 5 pick.
Yeah.
But Florida to me is like the wild card team of the SEC because I don't really know what to expect from them.
Nobody does, man. Nobody knows what to expect out of them. It just depends on what kind of play they get at quarterback. I mean, their defense is always usually pretty good. They're usually got a top 15, 25 defense. But that offense, it just really seems at times they can get super stagnant and they have to find a way to grind out wins, and they don't really win big. They don't have style points. But, hey, they got a chance tonight to prove everybody wrong already in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, that's probably one of the better games of the weekend. Are
we sure? Is their quarterback playing? Cam Rising, is he out?
Yeah, Cam Rising. You know what? I saw yesterday saying that he was questionable. So obviously that changes the dynamic of everything. Right now, it says he is not expected to play in the opener. So
and Florida's quarterback is Graham Mertz, who's a Wisconsin transfer.
Yeah. So I mean
So we'll see his Florida debut tonight. We'll see how that goes.
So obviously that affects what that game was going to be if Cam Rising doesn't go. I mean, who knows? I mean, they say he's not expected to play, but sometimes things can be a surprise. But yeah, if he doesn't go in that game, that really affects what that game could be. But yeah, I mean, just the SEC season as a whole, it's just some really interesting storylines when you think about, because I could see 3 legitimate teams at the very top right there that I could see winning the SEC.
Georgia, Alabama, and LSU.
Yeah. I mean, those are not just.
Well, we'll find out about LSU on Sunday night when they play Florida State. We'll see how good both of those teams are.
Yeah, I
mean that's got to be the marquee matchup all week, and it's on a Sunday. That's kind of weird, but
for sure,
whatever.
Well, they're taking their Sunday before the big boys take over the following Sunday. So they're getting in. They're kind of getting in where they fit in before the big boys come to town on Sunday.
Yep.
So, all right, real quick, what's on your mind?
KSU football, Kennesaw State. They also have their season opener tonight, so we'll see how that goes. And they're going to be playing against Tusculum. I don't know much at all about Tusculum.
I've heard of Tusculum.
I've heard of them, but I don't know. Well, 7 o'clock kickoff in Kennesaw, so we'll be there, and we will have that for our later newscast tonight. But, excited. Football's kicking off over there and Georgia State. So
it's football everywhere.
Man.
I'm just like you.
We got Georgia Tech tomorrow night at Mercedes-Benz.
Right. High school
and then
football.
UGA
Good high school
is on
games.
Saturday. They're playing. So finally, football's here.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what's on my mind too. Is just kind of football here and just football all the way around. I mean that's the great part about football season is you get to Thursday, especially once the NFL season starts. You pretty much have football games
almost every
5
night
days
of the
a week.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And then later in the season, if you're really just like a total college football nerd, You have the MAC games, like I think
Tuesday nights.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Tuesday nights. The MAC, it's like
Tuesday night action, Wednesday night action.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I covered the MAC for a lot, so
Hey.
that's pretty fun football.
I'll take some midweek action on some football.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
but I think that's marketing genius though, just because it gives them their own night, kind of when they
Yeah.
have those games. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, football all the way around. Both of us are going to be all over tonight.
Yeah.
I'll be over at GSU, to shoot that game here momentarily. As that game starts at 7 p.m. So a lot of football, man. We love it. A lot of football. So
Panthers, Owls. We got Georgia Tech. We got Yellow Jackets and Bulldogs all ready to go.
cool. Well, we're not going to hold you anymore on this Thursday, but remember, before we head on out, wanted to tell you about the sports tonight. We're available wherever you watch your podcast. So whether it's on Apple, Spotify, wherever it is that you watch your podcast, listen to us, check us out there. So if you're riding home, you're not quite home, you're in the middle of some rainy weather or just crazy traffic, listen to us. We always have a lot to talk about here as we really just kind of dig deeper into whatever's going on in the sports world. Just go to ANF Plus Sports Tonight and listen to us any given night, any given time, right?
Listen, watch.
Cool.
There you go.
We're going to be out of here. We'll check you out tomorrow.
See you on Friday.
Later.